Welcome back to Profi Plays, and I have some exciting news here as we are starting episode 25? Yes, episode 25 of the Shadowdark series. Um, I didn't realize in the last episode my party found an a chip of an emerald. Not particularly significant in itself, but Shadowdark awards XP for treasure. That treasure, while not huge, I think is enough for 1 XP each. That was the 10th XP, which is pushing all of my characters then from first level to second level, which means we'll at least have a second point. Thank goodness. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Normally, I don't know that I would want to do leveling up on camera because it's not the most interesting thing to watch, but I think it might be worthwhile seeing how easy it is in Shadowdark. This is actually my first time leveling a character up in Shadowdark, so I mean, really, there's almost nothing to it, right? So the first thing we need to do is we change the level and our XP. So all I did there was simply write XP, had to reset down to 0 out of 20, and it's probably hard to read my pencil here. The level is now 2, right? So that part is not hard. The next thing that we need to do is because really there are three things that happen when you level up, right? There's your XP resets, and you have to determine what you need for the next level. You possibly um, get a new talent, and then you also get hit points, right? So and then for our magic users, they might possibly gain another spell. That is another thing that I might possibly have to do. Which, yeah, watching me pick spells, I'll probably pause for that one. Okay, all right. So first, so I'm just going to go kind of one by one. I'm going through the quick start in the order in which they appear. Now, one thing that it was kind of unclear to me when I looked at the level advancement. So what they have is for various levels, there's a +1 for talent, and it's the odd levels that get the +1. So it wasn't clear to me whether it's when you level up from that level or level up to that level. I'm going to make the assumption that it's to that level because I know that when you create your character, you do get one talent roll. So it makes sense. Level 1 +1. That would be the talent roll you got. So that means that we do not have talent rolls. We're simply going to be leveling everybody up in terms of adding hit points and for our magic users, potentially adding spells. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go through, like I said, in the order that they appear in the quick start, which would be fighter first. So first, our fighter, we have a D8. Right, so you already had 6 hit points. Oh, awesome, awesome. Oh, I'm very happy with that. It's 8 more. Hey, oh, thank goodness. Okay, I feel like a breakout in song. Okay, so we're up to 14 hit points for Hrogar now. That is wonderful. Next then in the quick start is the priest. Remember, Isana had just 1 hit point to start with. He rolls a d6. Right, so please, something more than a 1. Oh, thank goodness. So he's up to 7. So he was a very, very weak first level priest, but he's now a very average second level priest. All right, so we're up to 7 hit points total for him. Also, the priest, when you move up from first to second level, you do get you get a third priest spell, which I will pick and I'll tell you about here shortly. Then the next one would be our feat, right? So our friend Godfrey rolls a d4. So the d4 here indicates a 2. So he goes from 3 HP up to 5, which is not bad, not bad. A little bit less fragile than he was. And then finally, Sage, dear Sage, the one that connects us with the story at this point, right? 3, wonderful. So he, instead of having 1 hit point, now has 4 hit points. Okay, awesome. Also, looking at the wizard goes from 3 spells up to 4 level 1 spells known, right? So I will have to pick that as well. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause. I'll pick those spells. Just again, you don't want to watch me shuffle through spell lists. And I'll let you know what I pick. Okay. All right, so I've made my choices, and I decided, flipping through there are lots of actually kind of cool options. I was really tempted by Holy Weapon for a priest, so that gives some bonuses to attack and damage, where you just kind of bless the weapon. So it wouldn't even necessarily have to be his weapon, which would be kind of nice. But I decided going with light was the way I wanted to go for Ishana. Right, so Ishana now has a total of 4 spells available to him. He has light, turn undead, cure wounds, and protection from evil. Those are his 4. Because everybody automatically gets turn undead if you're a priest. Now for stage, he already had mage armor, magic missile, and sleep. I decided to add for him floating disc. So I figured light and floating disc are really good for if we're going to be dungeon delving, and that is really what they're going to be spending a lot of time doing as they're going through the training that Ophelia is putting them through. Right, so that is where we are right now. That is what I have decided for. We have decided. No, I made the choice. Right, that is what I have decided for them. Right. All right. So I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. I'm happy with those choices right now. So now I need to make another choice. Right. So, in the previous episode, I said that it was time for us to leave because we are running low on torches. Now we have somebody that knows the light spell, which means the torches can be used kind of as a backup rather than as our primary source of light, potentially. Right, so, do we really need to head for the exit right away? That's the question. I think it would be a good idea too, as far as that goes. So I think Ishana then it just touches something and it emits light, uh, but he has to hit the spell check. And Ishana is not the best at magic. He has a -1 modifier. Yeah, this happened. But anyway, that's where we are. So let's go ahead and do this. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to cast light because we ran out of light last time, and that would give us, if we were playing in a group, it would give us 1 hour of real time light. Again, playing solo dark, I mean, it makes sense this is going to be a 10 round thing. And I'm going to do that as, 10 rooms that I can go through with that light source. All right, so here we go. Remember, we need a DC 11. We're rolling at a -1. 18, 17 does it. Okay, so cool. We get to keep our torches. So we are going to pack up. We're out of here. This demonic portal is pretty creepy in this room that we are in. We have Ishana's glowing staff, and he then, it turns out, is going to be the one leading the way, which I think is kind of interesting. Um, because normally I just kind of assume that it's Godfrey the thief that's leading the way. That's not what's happening here. All right, so I mean, I suppose he could hand the staff over to Godfrey, but that's his only melee weapon. I don't think it's off. Let's just be honest about this. Right, so, in terms of what we are doing right now, the way that I'm going to interpret what's happening is that we are going to be making our way back through the dungeon. And the way this works, right? Um, I'm going to roll for a random encounter. So rather than exploring rooms like I was doing on the way through and determining if it's a monster room, then there's a monster there, which meant there's about a 1 in 3 chance of us hitting monsters. I'm going to be going back through the rooms. If there was already a monster there, then there's obviously a monster there. If there was not a monster there, then there is a chance for a random encounter, but we only check. Right now, I'm going to say we're in a risky situation because we do have light. Right? So every 2 rounds. So it's not that every single room is going to have a monster in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and head out as far as that goes. So we are in room 20 to start out with. We go then to room 19, and that means our timer on our uh, light went down to 9. Okay, so room 19, I think is going to be the first. So then, oh, every time this hits an even number, I'm going to check. Okay, so room 19, what was in room 19? Just as a reminder, room 19, there's a dead rat there. We don't have to fight it, it's dead. Okay, so back to room 18. Room 18 is where the safe was. Like, is there also, if I roll a 1 on this, there is a random encounter. Is there a random encounter? There is a random encounter, it turns out. All right, so let's find out what that is. So based on what I know here, it's a 3. That'd be a giant rat. We just get these giant rats. Okay, how many giant rats are there? The last was simply okay. Oh my goodness, there are 4 of them. All right, well, I don't have 4 giant rat tokens, so just move everything here so we can see what's going on. So there's one, I'll just get some kind of miscellaneous tokens. Is it? Right, so we have a giant rat and then 3 other giant rats. Now, these are naturally going to be hostile. That was a good test for us as a group of level 2 adventurers. Very nice. Okay, so we have our rats here. Um, well, I mean, let's find out some stuff. So, what kind of distance? When do we notice them? It's a 2. A 2 indicates that they are near, which means within one round. So I'm guessing this room that we're in, right? We are in room number 18, if I recall correctly, right? Yes. It's room 18. What was in room 18? Room 18 was the room with the safe. So this isn't a very big room. A good chunk of it is this giant safe. So now we see in this room, there's also a bunch of rats. It's not a very big room. Things are kind of tight. We can be in melee very, very quickly. So what are they doing? And that will tell us, is there the opportunity for us to try to sneak by potentially? 12. Oh, they are sleeping. Oh, thank goodness. All right. So there are 4 giant rats, but they are asleep. So we can try to move very quietly through this room and exit. Can Rogar manage to make it through this room without tripping on his own feet and creating a racket that is going to wake these things up? That's the question. So we're going to find out. I think because they are asleep, I'm going to go ahead and give him advantage on this one because I think the conditions are such that it makes some degree of sense. So, Hrogar, where are you, Hrogar? Yep, you're at -1. That's what I thought. So, or I guess I could say, no, let's make this easy rather than advantage. So, still just one roll, but he has to get just a 9 or higher modified. So, 10 -1. 6. Well, unsurprisingly, Rogar, who is carrying, what is the stuff that I mean, he's carrying some noisy stuff, let's be honest. All right, so he has, I mean, he has both a great sword and also a great axe. So I'm guessing these things like run into each other or something. Right, so we have problems. Okay, yeah, he definitely has problems. So he wakes these rats, and I think the rats are kind of groggy. So it would probably make sense. We know that he made the yeah, but we wouldn't necessarily know they it woke the rats. All right, we're just gonna do standard initiative. All right, the rats are 6. We are at 11 plus 2, 13. Okay, so we still get to act first. So I mean, we could run, but I mean, odds are reasonable they would just follow us. So I think we're just gonna go right through. I have my pile of sheets here. Let's just go through and attack them. I mean, why not? All right. So Hrogar is the one on top right now. So he's going to run up to one of the rats, and he's just going to attack it. He has a great sword. Um, it's not like, oh, it's a great sword. He has a great sword, which is +4 for him, which is kind of nice. So he has a good potential to just slaughter this rat pretty quickly. We know rats have an AC of 11, and they have, was it like 5 hit points? I think it was. It was what we did last time. All right, so first rat, he rolls an 18. So yes, that's definitely going to hit. And then we get to roll 2d12. I need to pull out a second d12. That's wild. Used to. Oh no, it's not. That's the D12 plus 2. Okay, that's it. It's a little bit different. Okay, so D12 plus 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that rat's gone. Okay, so this rat just dead. Which okay, I'll just replace one of these with a rat so I remember what I'm fighting. And my memory's not that bad, but still. All right, so first rat gone. Okay, second rat. Let's see. Who is going to fire? I guess it's Ishana. Also, we need to decide. Ishana still doesn't have a whole lot of hit points. No, that's not Ishana. Ishana is right here. I think it makes sense that Ishana is going to like pull out his crossbow and use that. Right. So he pulls out his crossbow. Yeah, that would be the movement part of it. So pulls out the crossbow and fires it. +2. That's gonna hit. And how much damage does it do? Kills it. Okay, so second rat drops. Nice. Okay, how about the third one? So Sage. Sage can fire a magic missile. So he's going to do that. +3 at advantage. That's a 22. I think that's definitely going to hit. Then we've got d4 of damage. 4 points of damage. Awesome. So that means there's just 1 point left to go. I'm just going to go ahead and just put one here next to that guy. Right, so that guy just got shot with a magic missile, which one is definitely not in great shape. Godfrey then is also going to use his crossbow at +2 and misses. Okay. All right, so everybody's down to 18 crossbow bolts, anybody that uses crossbows, and now we're on the rat's turn. Now, here's the thing though, the rats, I need to double check what their wisdom score is, because they lost half their numbers, which means that they are going to try to run. They have wisdom of +1, so they need to hit a 15 wisdom save, otherwise they're just gonna leave. They hit a 5. So yeah, so the rats run off. And the question is, do they leave any treasure behind? There's a 50% chance they are carrying treasure. So I'm going to say I don't need to kill them all. So I guess they're here in this room with a safe. There's at least some possibility. We have two dead rats here. They might possibly have some treasure nearby, some trinkets, that kind of thing. It's probably not going to be anything big, but do they have any kind of treasure? 50% chance. 73. The answer is no. Okay, so no treasure from them. That's all right. All right. So we still have our timer on 8 as we're here in room 18. All right. Um, oh, not in the camera there. There we go. It's room 18. All right. Next then, let us continue on our way out. So we're moving back to room 17. So revisiting these rooms as we go. What was in room 17? Remind myself. 17, there's a trap here that we disabled, so we can just keep moving. So moving then into the next room. Room number 16. So, is there an encounter here? Seriously? So this is where there's all the mushrooms. Okay. So there's a bunch of mushroom here. Uh, so, okay. Okay, what do we have here in terms of, so it's two. Two, I believe, is orcs. Yes. Right, so we have orcs here. How many orcs? I said it's a D4, so just one. There's one orc here in this room with us in room 16. So I'm going to shift things down a little bit. There we are. So we are in the room. Again, Ishana is leading the way. And we encounter an orc. Yeah, I have to itch my nose because I'm in my garage and it's January. So, like, fortunately, we had a run of days where it was like -10 or something like that. It is not one of those days. Um, it's okay. It's tolerable. I mean, you can see I'm wearing short sleeves, but it is still chilly. Okay, so the orc. What is the orc doing? So we're going to find out. Okay, 11. 11 indicates. Okay, no, guarding. Okay, I thought it was going to be socializing, playing again. Okay, no, okay, so this orc is in this room guarding for some reason. What exactly he's guarding, we don't know. Maybe he's guarding the mushrooms, and we just wasn't here before. At the very least, he's going to be on guard. He's going to be watching for us. So it makes sense to me that he would see us coming, most likely. Right. So let's go ahead and double check that. I'm going to go ahead and give him um, an initiative on this roll. I'm going to make an initiative roll with advantage. That's what I meant. So 16 here, okay, and as opposed to us, which would roll a 16. So let me check what the stats are for an orc, because I don't remember off the top of my head with the orc. The orc, okay, no, it's actually a tie. So I think we break the tie because we have the higher stat. If not, that's what we'll do. Okay, so I'm going to say that we get the jump on him. Okay. Now, an orc has rage, or one time per day they are immune to morale checks. So we need to decide whether that's going to be the case. And also, it gets plus 1d4 damage for 3 rounds if he uses that rage. Right, so for the orc, the AC is 15, he has 4 HP. His attack is 1 great axe that he rolls at a +2 and does 1d8 damage. Okay. Now, in terms of distance, so how far are we when we see him here? 5, which means we're far, right? So we do have a chance here. So our melee folks are not going to be able to attack first, but our ranged folks are going to be able to attack. Uh, I guess it makes sense here. Let's go ahead and roll that attack. Okay, so going through. Now, again, we are in a dungeon, so I'm making the assumption that these rooms are all small enough that even if we're technically far, that just means that we just have to spend the time to get next to them. But it's only going to take one round of that movement to make that happen. So, just going through, Frogar is going to move into melee. The other three are going to use whatever kind of ranged stuff they have available to them. So just like in the order that I have here, I have Godfrey first. Godfrey is going to, remember we need a 15. Gosh. 10, that'd make that 11, 12. Nope. Godfrey got nothing. Okay, Sage. Sage using Magic Missile. Now, Magic Missile, if I recall correctly, their AC doesn't count here. It's just does the spell go off? And the answer is no, it fails, which means he loses Magic Missile. This is not a great position for our wizard to be in. All right. Then Ishana, how about you with your crossbow? You get a +2 on this. What can you do? Hit. Okay, thank goodness. Hits with the crossbow for 2 points of damage, which means the orc is now down to 2. So I'll go ahead and just put there. All right, and Hogar just runs up to him. So he is currently injured. Now, again, we need to hit this wisdom check for um, the orc to see whether or not he can keep fighting. Now, it is possible he might decide to activate rage. So I think maybe what we'll do, I'll make the wisdom check first. If he fails that, then I'll just roll. I'll just roll an oracle check to see if he decides to activate rage. Okay, so you rolled. I'm going to rule that as a 3 because it was kind of wobbling, but it looked like it was going to wobble to a 3 to me. Okay, so he fails and leaves. Does he drop behind any kind of treasure that might be worthwhile with a 50% chance? So 50 or under, the answer is no, right? So he does manage to leave with half his hit points, hit points, and all of his stuff, right? So the orc runs off. All right, well, that's okay. That's fine. And that was, I realize I just I rolled my timer die. All right, so here we go. All right, let's keep going then. Let's go back to room number 15. What was in room 15 before? Oh, I have a description around here somewhere. There it is. So room 15, this is where there was a spike pit trap that would have been triggered by closing a door, but we managed to avoid it before. We know that it's there, so I'm going to say we can go ahead and go through without any kind of problem. We get to room 14. Room 14, a crossbow trap that would be triggered by casting a spell. Right, well, when we, before I remember, decided not to cast any spells, is there anything here? Yep, there's nothing here that would require us to cast spells. Let's go ahead then into room 12. So this is 3 here. All right, room number 12. This was where we found the talking skull. I'm not sure where we left the talking skull. Oh, yeah, we left the talking skull like over here somewhere. All right, so that one, this is basically an empty room as far as that goes. Continuing then, room number 11. So here we need to make another check for random encounter, and we do have another random encounter. We've been getting a lot of random encounters. Only one of these 6 rolls should have a random encounter. We have had 3 out of 5 rolls have a random encounter. Whatever. All right, so we do have another random encounter. What is it we've encountered? More orcs. How many orcs? 3 orcs. Okay, I do actually have quite a few orc tokens, so that's okay. I don't mind that. I have enough orc tokens, so if I'm going to fight something, I want it to be an orc. All right. So remember, Sean is in front because he's the one with the light, and we encounter then 3 orcs. This token is kind of coming apart to reglue that at some point. Okay. Oh, or I could just switch out for a token that isn't falling apart. There we go. So we have 3 orcs here. Excellent. Just to say they're all standard orcs, right? They all have their great swords, whatever they have on them. Okay, so don't know what made Godfrey go all sideways, but here we go. So we get there. What are they doing in terms of their activity? 8, right? So they are building or nesting. So they are here in this room. It's room number 11 where the fireplace is. So I think nesting might be some way of thinking of this, and that they are apparently trying to turn this into a living space. Where before we hadn't seen the evidence of this, but now we've encountered orcs in here before. Not this room, but in the dungeon. Apparently there are orcs here, and a lot more than we had seen before. Right? But they're here. They're trying to turn this into a living space somewhere they might eat, drink, that kind of thing. Is what I'm imagining. They're doing that kind of work here, right? So they're not currently eating, but they're like trying to arrange this space so it is actually useful for that kind of thing, right? So then, how far are we away from them when we come out? 3, that'd be near, right? So we are within move attack distance of them. Now, again, we're making the assumption that orcs are naturally hostile. We're not going to try to roll for reaction with them. That is something that I think I did before, is that I was rolling for reactions, not really thinking about whether they would naturally be hostile or not. Oh, I just remembered something. When I wrote hostile here, it's that the rats and the orcs are hostile with each other, not they're naturally hostile toward us. Oops. Well, anyway, that opens up then another possibility. Now that I remember, that's what this note meant. It didn't mean that they're always hostile toward us. So let's go ahead and see. I mean, it makes sense here. Krogar being a half orc himself, I mean, he probably isn't well loved by orc society or something like that. But, I mean, we know that he's pretty charismatic. He could possibly talk us away from the orcs, maybe? Maybe? Well, let's see. Let me look. Some vicious creatures, such as undead, are always hostile. So do we think an orc is always hostile? Well, it is chaotic aligned. I think it might always be hostile. Yeah, let's go with it always being hostile. Okay. So, initiative then. They are not guarding us, so I don't think that they get any kind of advantage or something like that. So, oh goodness, they 18 unmodified. We got 7 with the modifier. Okay, so they get to move first. And Ishan is the one in front with the light source. I think it makes sense. He would be the most logical target for them to attack. Well, I liked having a priest. But we'll see what happens. As they're attacking my healer. That's always a little fun. All right. So what's going to happen here? Okay. They attack him. Right. He has an AC of 14 though, so that's to his advantage. So he's wearing chainmail, so that is at least somewhat helpful. So let's go ahead and roll for them. What is their plus on this? They get +2 on this. So I'm going to just go ahead and roll kind of the 3 attacks, and we'll see how much damage gets done between them. Yeah, I'll do 2 attacks at a time. So this one would actually be there's 1 hit between the first 2. Okay, so just 1 hit. Okay, so he's probably going to be fine. Probably, although it is a D8, so not necessarily. So it's a D8 here. Oh, just 1 point of damage. Okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness. So that is 6 hit points is what he has remaining. Good. So one of them, so they all ran up. They're kind of surrounding Shauna at this point and attacking him. This is a bad position for him to be in, certainly. But good news, he is not alone. He has a number of people that number being a total of 3 others, apart from himself, that are going to fight for him and try to keep him from being killed. So let's see whether we do so successfully. So let's have Ishana move first. Now, Ishana is already being attacked. His spells are not very useful here. He has Turn Undead, Cure Wounds, which might be useful afterward, and he has Protection from Evil. Protection from Evil is not a terrible spell to maybe break out at this point, but I don't feel like it's. I don't know that it's that fast. All right, let's see what I can find. What does Protection from Evil do? Um, the spell's duration, chaotic beings have disadvantage on attack rolls in hostile spellcasting checks against the target. These beings also can't possess, compel, or beguile it. When cast on an already possessed target, the possessing entity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's not relevant. Right, so, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea, but he kind of has a more current problem. So just giving them a disadvantage, I mean, that certainly isn't bad. Um, but he's on. I didn't see what the target was of this. I mean, it makes sense that it might possibly be self. Okay, range is close, so anybody within 5. Yeah. So he could cast it on himself. So close does imply self as well. So he could do protection from evil. Uh, being attacked by 3, that might actually be a good idea, honestly. Or he could just try to whack one of them, because I mean, if he succeeds, it's probably going to at least do half the damage necessary. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to have him attack. Let's just have him attack. That makes sense. Right, so go ahead and roll. Which one is he? It doesn't really matter, because I'm not actually. This is abstract arrangement rather than like detailed arrangement, so I'm not worried about if, oh, he's in between or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit one of them. +2. Remember, we need a 15. A 1 +2 is a miss. And it also makes me very glad that I did not make that a spell check. Right, so yeah. So it's a very bad miss, but I don't see there would naturally be any significant negative consequences that I necessarily want to say, oh, it's a critical failure, da da da. Right, so I mean, technically a critical failure. But he's just swinging the staff and missing. I mean, oh, although I guess we could have, he swings the staff and like loses it, so it goes like flying across the room. It's still lit. It's still lit, so we're still not in the dark. But yeah, it's he doesn't have it in hand, so he at the moment is unarmed, apart from the crossbow, which because he decided to go with his staff, which is I think what he would naturally be carrying. Um, yeah, he's very much in trouble here. All right, so Ishana, that was your move. You dropped your staff. How about Rogar? What is Rogar? And Rogar, being our very heroic half orc, is going to step in. Um, he's actually lawful, by the way. Oh, he's banished too, so these orcs almost certainly don't like him and would not have been convinced by any kind of charisma attempt. Okay, so he is going to go ahead and attack this guy. Let's go ahead and roll it. So with his great sword, he's just going to whack him. But a +4, 19 would be sufficient, and he gets to roll a d12 +2. 12 is going to be enough to get rid of that orc. So this orc is down. Cool. All right. Next up, then, is Sage. Sage is definitely going to stay back a bit and is going to use. Oh, he can't use magic missile. So in that case, Sage is going to again stay back a bit and is instead going to use mage armor. If he's going to be going in, he's going to be going in with mage armor on. Mage armor would give him a 14 AC, I believe, where he normally would have a 12. Let me double check that. Um, it's not very many spells in here, but it's still enough that I feel like I need to check things. And I don't do things wrong either. It's doing things wrong on the internet means everybody sees it. Okay, yeah, 14. Everybody he says when are going to be like 3 views on this video. All right, so let's go ahead. Roll this with advantage. He does have advantage on this spell. And oh, awesome. Critical. That means it's 18 is his AC now. Amazing. He can also move if he wants to. He's going to still hang back. Okay. All right, so then we've got Godfrey. What's Godfrey? I dropped something. Oh, I dropped cheat. Okay, so Godfrey here is going to just use his crossbow. It still has bolts. He still has like 18, I think, bolts left. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. 18. 18 is a hit. Okay, and the crossbow is a d6. So he does 3 points of damage. That means we have one of these guys has just 1 point left. Cool. All right, now it's their turn. Now they have lost. I'm going to say that they'd have to be down to 1 orc for them to decide to potentially run and have to do that morale check. So it makes sense. They're going to keep attacking Ishana. Although, are they? Because he didn't actually do any, he just dropped his staff, which I mean, on the one hand means he's an easy target, on the other hand means that he's not a threat to them. So I'm going to go after somebody that is a threat, like, I don't know, the half orc that just one shotted one of them, or that thief over there with a crossbow that almost killed another one of them. So I don't know. I'm going to use the oracle for this one. Right, so do they continue to attack Ishana? 50-50. So if it's 11 or higher, then the answer is yes. The answer is 9. 9 would be a no but, which means one of them will attack Ishana, the other one will attack somebody else. Is the somebody else Krogar? 12, the answer is yes. Okay, so I'm going to say the one with full strength is going to go and attack Rogar instead. So I'm moving him over here just to indicate who is attacking who. Right, so he's going to go ahead and attack this again at a +2. 16 plus 2 is 18. That is sufficient. And it is with his great sword, which does 5. Ooh, ouch. 5 points of damage on Rogar, which he has 14 hit points, so he's down to 9. Not terrible. All right. There we go. And what else? Okay. And then the other one is going to attack Ishana, who is now unarmed, remember. Um, okay. He attacks, needs it's AC 14. 12 plus 2, I believe, was the modifier in here. So that would still be a hit. And Ishana takes 4 points of damage that time. So he is down to 2 points, hit points remaining. That's not good at all. Really not at all. Okay, here we are. All right, so next one. So this next round, what are we going to do? Well, I think it makes sense, right, for um, Hrogar should try to take out the guy that is right next to him. I think that makes the most sense. So at a +4, a critical failure. I mean, okay, I like the idea of he ends up disarmed, right? So yeah, he swings his great sword, being the weapon of choice that he has mastery of, but apparently today is not a good day. So he swings the great sword. It also goes flying, ends up across the room. So he is going to have to take some time to recover that. Now I'm going to say that he at least does he get it back in his hand? I don't think he gets it back in his hand yet. It's going to take a whole turn next time for him to go recover it and all of that. Okay. In the meantime, we have I kind of want to free Ishana up to go get his staff, so I'm going to have the other two. Let me move this so I can actually see the other two. I'm going to have the other two go first. So I'm going to save Ishana for now. Sage actually is in a reasonably good shape to go in and to attack with his staff. So he pulls out his staff as he's running up here to join this melee against this orc. Okay. And then he is going to roll using his. Yeah, I think staff makes sense. Doesn't really make much difference statistically. And he gets a critical success, which means he gets to roll 2 dice of damage. So, I mean, just for the sake of argument, he gets 3 and 4, so 7 points of damage. This orc is no longer with us. Is well dead. Okay. All right. Then Godfrey, seeing that having happened, is going to fire over at the remaining orc, which with his crossbow, and he's going to miss. So I think we're down to 16 crossbow bolts, if I recall correctly, for him. I think it's 16 here. All right. I think Shauna was at 18. Yeah, keeping track of crossbow bolts is something that I find kind of annoying, but I think nonetheless is important when you're playing a game where the limitation of resources is important. And I think that is the case with a game like Shadowdark. All right, so that is where we are now. Now, this orc finds himself by himself. So he needs to make that wisdom roll. He has a wisdom of +0. He fails it. So the question is he going to use his rage to ignore that and give him a significant bonus for the remaining rounds? The answer is no, just a plain no. He's not going to do it. The orc runs off. So then, do we have treasure on these orcs that is potentially worth anything to us? Well, let's see. 86, the answer would be no, or 89 rather. The answer is still no. Right, so no treasure. I mean, I guess technically we could kind of strip them of whatever armor they have, but the thing is, we already have armor on our two people that can actually wear it. Um, yeah, so I'm not particularly worried about. Well, no, okay, no, the thief can also wear like leather armor, I think. Yeah, so everybody who can wear armor has armor. So I'm not gonna worry about that. Similarly, like these big weapons, we have the big weapons, so I'm not gonna bother with that. They might have some value compared to the treasure we have, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to do that. All right, so we defeated those orcs. Nice. And then continuing. Right, so we are currently, I believe, in room 11, where the fireplace was and where they were trying to set things up for building a kitchen. Well, guess meat's back on the menu, boys, or something. They're cannibals. All right, we're going to continue then up this way. So we go up here to room number 9. So you can't see that. Okay, we are room 11. We're moving up to room 9. That means we're down to 1 here. What was in room 9 before? This was. Oh, we have a floor covered with oil. So we're going to very carefully make our way across that. I'm going to say we're careful enough. We're fine. And then the light spell runs out as we get to this room, which has a javelin trap, which has been disabled. But does it have a random encounter in it? It does not. Okay. So that means at this point, we have Ishana could recast the light spell. I I know this is running long, but I want to get them out of the dungeon. I also want to do I want to have him use his healing spell because I mean, he himself is in bad shape. So let's go ahead first. Let's see if we can get light back because that's going to be the more important thing. Again, it's DC 11. He has a -1 on this. The answer is no. He can't get light back. All right, so we're going to mark X on the light. He cannot use the light spell anymore. So instead, somebody is going to light a torch. Who has a torch still? Yeah, there. Sage has a torch. So Sage lights a torch, hands it over to Godfrey. Or is Godfrey. I think Godfrey might be weighed down with stuff. Yeah, Godfrey can't carry it. All right. So it looks like it's actually Sage that is going to be leading the way. Now, I'm just going to rearrange things a little bit. Sage is leading the way with his torch. And I do actually want to try using that healing. I dropped my. Oh no, no, I didn't. I don't need that. Okay. All right. I did drop something, but I can get it here later. So cure wounds. Let's find out how cure wounds works. So it's instant close, yeah. So your touch restores ebbing life. So roll a number of d6 equal to 1 plus half your level rounded down. So he gets to roll 2d6 and regain that many hit points. As long as the spell succeeds. So that is the thing. Ishana is not a very reliable spellcaster, but we're going to try. It's he's DC 11 at a -1. Oh, yeah, that definitely fails. Right, so he would love to cure wounds, but he's not going to cure wounds. It fails. All right, so he's just going to have to make it the way he is, and as far as that goes, that's all we can really do at this point. All right, so then we are continuing on our way. We have a light source again reset. Continuing through, we're now in room 8. Room 8, we were in room 8 before, because that's the javelin trap. Then we go up to the room 7, which is where there's a telescope. I think we never discovered this particular secret passage, if I remember right. So we go past the telescope. Uh, right, is this 9, 8? Okay, so room 6, which is where there is. There was an orc here, but we defeated him, so there's an orc body here. Are there any other creatures? No, there are no other creatures. All right. So we move then into room 5. We're down to 7 rounds left. Room 5 was where there was a giant rat that we scared away, and there was some armor here that we took. All right, so Moving then back toward the exit. Room number 4. Okay, so this was okay. 4 is where there was another room, a falling block trap that I don't have any note whether we disabled it or not, but at the very least that there was a falling block trap here. So let's go ahead and roll to see whether we have a random encounter. The answer is no. All right, and then we get to room 3, which is where there was a fairy here before. Is the fairy still here? The answer is no. That's a 2 on that. So no fairy here at this point. What is this? This is down to 6, I think, maybe 5 even. But we're gonna make it all the way out on that porch, so that's not a big deal. Then 1, this is where there's a sink. Okay. And is there a random encounter here? There is not. Okay. So we made it all the way out of the tunnels of doom. Right. We come back up into the light, and we are going to make our way, right, next time, I believe, into one of the cities where we can sell off some of the stuff we have, maybe do some carousing, find out what the results of that are going to be. So feel free to tune in next time. I guess next would be episode number 26, as Profi plays Shadowdark. For now, this is Profi signing off. But also, we didn't get any treasure at all this time, did we? So no XP. Well, let's see what the carousing does next time. Profi signing out.